you're supposed to pray. Because I was like, oh yeah, something was answer to a prayer, and she was like, well, I've been praying for something for years, and I never got it, so how do you pray?
Yeah. So she was asking that she had a conversation with her friend, and she always says that when I ask for something, I get it, right? She said, I've been asking for years and years, and my wish never gets fulfilled. So how do you understand that? So we need to come into Mullah Ali's call, and he would say that when someone asks me for dunya, because मैं मुश्किल कुशा हूँ and I always answer everyone's call, मैं उसको दुनिया भी देता हूँ, लेकिन मैं हाथ को पीछे करके उसको दुनिया देता हूँ, क्योंकि मैं उसको देखना पसंद नहीं करता हूँ. तो खाली just think about that. मौला बोलते हैं कि मैं इसको हाथ पीछे करके उसको दुनिया देता हूँ, ताकि वो मेरे दीदार ना कर ले, क्योंकि मैं उसको पसंद नहीं करता हूँ जो मुझसे दुनिया मांगता है. अब दीन के अंदर की बात करें हम, कि दीन में भी तो हम कितनी चीजें मांगते हैं. I mean, on normal basis we do ask for nurani didar, but sometimes it takes days and days and months and years and years, and sometimes whole life before we receive his blessing and have a nurani didar. So why is that? And then we have someone, they will say, whatever I ask, I always get it. And what about this Gnan? Je mangu te tu deve. Eva lal larave. So what are we talking about? Are we talking about different levels? Or are we talking about different kind of dua? Depend on what we're asking. Again, Mullah Ali's call is, that whenever you ask for something, you will 100%, not 99%, will get it. But in three different ways. Either you will get it now, or you will get it in delayed, meaning later on, or you will get it on other side. But you will get it, whatever you ask, whatever you ask. अभी यहाँ पर वेल खाली नहीं कि जब मौला फरमाते हैं कि आपकी नेक तमन्नाएं पूरी हो, जो भी आपकी वेल विश है वो पूरी हो. मौला is saying whatever you ask, even if you ask for something which is not good for you, because you ask, you will get it. Now we need to understand that concept in a minute. Whatever you ask, even if it's not good for you, we'll talk about that. So let's talk about what is good for us. Sometimes it may not be good for us today, but it may be good for us tomorrow. For example, जब हमारे बच्चे, when they ask for, when they are 10, 12 years old, they want to drive car. That is a good wish, but we don't fulfill that wish instantly. What do? Delayed mode में रखते हैं उसको. When they are 18 or whatever driving age, then we teach them, and then we buy them a car or give them a car. They still get that, but it takes a little bit time to get it. Or sometimes when they ask for something, we will say, okay beta, let's get it tomorrow, not today, tomorrow. Short delay period. Or sometimes we say, why not? Let's go get it. And we do it. यही सेम मिसाल हमारे मज़हब के अंदर भी है. If something that is you are ready for, then Imam will grant you that wish instantly, if you are ready for it. Sometimes we don't know if we are ready for it. We are asking for it. We may not be ready for it. So now we're going to talk about Ruhani, just a little bit, not much, but a little bit. We all go to Jamaatana, we all do Ibadat. You think all of us are ready for Ruhaniyat? What do you think? Sometimes we are not. Ruhaniyat is a burden. It's a really, really heavy thing to have, because your entire life will change. Your thinking process, your way of life, it all changes. You may not be ready for it. You may not be ready for that. So what Mullah does? He puts that on delay mode. Even if you are ready, he may give you Ruhaniyat in a different shape and form. He will give you the happiness. He will give you the happiness, but the Nurani Didar may comes little later on. So you may do what you need to do at that time. And then we'll talk about Nurani Didar. Like I said, we're only going to talk about a little bit here, further out. How many kind of Nurani Didar and what would happen to you if you have one. So he gives you that just so you will stay content and happy within yourself if you are not ready for it. Then you will find people who will receive the Didar early in life. And you will see those people, they change and they are very serious people and their way of life is different now. Because they were ready for that kind of way of life. They were ready to give that qurbani that requires for the Didar. They were ready for that. So they may receive it early in the time, and others may take 20, 40, whatever years. So one of the questions that are here, even though it's not part of this, is how long can it take to receive a Nurani Didar after receiving Ismi Azam? That's a tough question. Right? How long? When Imam receives his Ismi Azam, Imam, I'm talking about Imam, not apne ki baat nahi kar raha hu. When he receives his Ismi Azam from his father or grandfather, and when he practices his Ismi Azam, it only takes 40 days or only takes 7 days and he receives his Nur. Only 7 days. Can you imagine if he is practicing his Ismi Azam and receives his Nur in 7 days only? What kind of Ismi Azam practice would he be performing? Or within 40 days? Even a Mu'min can receive a Nur in 40 days. A Mu'min, if we follow the conditions and criteria that is given by the Imam, and if he practices on that Ismi Azam, the way he or she is supposed to practice, it only takes 40 days before you see the first Nur. And I said first Nur, meaning there are other after that. Only 40 days. But because we don't follow all the conditions, or sometimes we don't even understand all the conditions that is required, then it may take longer and longer time. And also at a point when because there's no failure in ibadat, eventually you will have that nur in your heart. Eventually you will. What is the example of that? कि एक आदमी है जो let's say he's working in I was going to give an example of a ghee factory. Like I don't think they will relate to that. So what would be work over here? They can do heavy work, loading and unloading trucks. If they were doing loading and unloading trucks, all those things that comes inside the truck, working for one of those Amazon or whatever, they will build their muscles eventually because they are picking up those heavy boxes. But it may take years and years, and the muscle you are building may not be exactly the way you want it to build. But if you are going to a gym, and especially if you have the instructor, you can build your muscle within what, 30 days, 40 days? And you will have right muscles at the right places. And those muscles will last you long, long time because you are following instruction. You are following the conditions and the right amount of weight at the right amount of time. You were eating right proteins that you needed. ये जो right instruction है, if you follow that, and then if you wish for something, then it's granted to you much, much quicker because you are following the conditions. So you have that would happen to you much quicker than if you are not following the conditions. It will still happen to you, but not in the time desired or timeline that you have set for yourself. जब हम इसमें आज़म लेते हैं first time, we do all set in our mind कि हम इबादत करेंगे, हम सही तरह करेंगे इबादत, हम सही टाइम पे जाएंगे, हम रेगुलरली जाएंगे, अपने ख्यालात को कंट्रोल करेंगे. We try to do all of them. But because we are not following the other conditions before, so I would recommend strongly there is one lecture called Disturbance in Ibadat, and एक है सादगी या आजिज़ी in Ibadat. Listen to those, and those will help and have helped other people. Okay, what are the conditions that you must meet so you may have the Nurani Didar quickly? Because if you meet all the conditions, once you meet all the conditions, Imam has mercy on our soul. Why would he not give us something that he's been praying for us, that you should have it at least once in your life? He wanted to give you that tomorrow if you meet the condition. Why would he make you wait for years and years? It is not him, it is us. And we all remember this one event where a moment comes to Sultan Muhammad Shah. He said, Ya Mullah, I've been practicing Ismi Azam for years and years, but I still have not been successful.
40 years.
40. For 40 years. Mullah said, how can it be? Are you doing everything you're supposed to do? He said, Ji Mullah, I'm doing everything. Mullah said, well, then there is only two ways I can explain that. Either you are lying or I'm lying. Because when Imam gives the Ismi Azam, he says what? If you practice, then you may have the Didar of the Noor at least once in your lifetime, or even more. That's his promise to us. What was our promise to him? कि हम संजीदा रहेंगे, we'll be serious about it, we will fulfill our commitment to him, and we will follow all the instruction. Not only the instruction that Mullah gives in Beduggar Farman. There are other instructions we're supposed to follow. And if you follow all the instruction and if you meet all the conditions, then it will happen to you. ठीक है, तो ये तो प्रेयर की बात होगी जो दुनिया हमारे दीन की प्रेयर की बात है. What about other prayers that we have or wish that we have? Sometimes we have it and sometimes we don't. लेकिन पीर माँ बाप बोलते हैं कि जे जे मांगो ते तू इधर है. Whatever you ask, he will give. How do you understand that part now? Let's say that I am your favorite friend, your favorite son, or a favorite person, a co-worker. If I'm your favorite, then if I ask you for something, you will instantly give me that. Because I'm your favorite. So have we become Imam's wali, a friend? Have we become Imam's favorite by doing what we need to do? When Peer says, Jai Jai Mango Te Tu Idave, he has become one with the Imam. He has met all the conditions. So now whatever he asks, he does get. But remember, he's not asking for dunya. So what he is asking? He is asking for ranks. He is asking for Nurani Didar. He may be even asking for salvation for the Jamaat. He may not be asking for anything for himself. And when he asks for salvation for the Jamaat, Imam says, because you are my friend, because you are my favorite person, I will grant you whatever you wish. Even that person does not deserve, because you are asking, I will go and give to him. जैसा हमारे यहाँ सिस्टम है सिफारिशी. You may not qualify for the job, but because someone has recommended you, and the recommendation came on the higher level, what happens? You get the job. Even though you don't deserve it, you don't qualify it, but you still get the job. इसी तरह जब पीर हमारे लिए ख्वाहिश करते हैं, हमारी रिकमेंडेशन करते हैं, हमारी सिफारिश करते हैं, we also get salvation because of him or his prayers. So when he says Jai Jai Mango, that's 100% true. Everything is granted. Now, in our case, as our ranks goes up, you will see the things that you ask are happening faster and faster and faster. Much faster. And not only that, sometimes when we ask for something, we don't understand what we're asking. You will also understand what to ask and what not to ask. Remember कि हम नहीं चाहते हैं कि हम इमाम की तरफ से हमारा चेहरा या उनका चेहरा हमारी तरफ से घूम जाए. We should not ask for things कि अली को अपना चेहरा घुमाना पड़े. We should ask for things कि ताकि हमारे इमाम भी हमसे खुश होके हमको देवे वो. So when we increase our ranks, हमारे दर्जात को जब आस्ते 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 हम बुलंद करते हैं, तो उसके लिए एक जो प्रिंसिपल सुल्तान मोहम्मद शाह ने हमको दिया है कि जो इल्म वाली रूह होगी वो दर्जा ब दर्जा ऊपर चढ़ेंगी. The one with the true knowledge will increase their ranks step by step. And when you do that, क्या हो रहा है? You are becoming closer to him and closer to him and closer to him, and you are becoming his favorite, his favorite, his favorite. And then when you ask for something, and I'm not about dunya, even if you ask for dunya, you will have it. If that's what you want, he will give you that too. Not with the happiness, but he will give to you because you asked. He will give to you. But otherwise, he will always will grant your wish. अच्छा, एक और आखिरी चीज़ यहाँ पर मैं ऐड कर लूँ कि यहाँ नहीं तो वहाँ पर. And this is gonna sound like a joke, but just imagine this does and will happen. What about if you wish something bad for others? Will that be granted? कभी कभार यहाँ पर भी हो जाता है वो, है ना, हम किसी के लिए बुरा सोचते हैं तो हो जाता है इधर भी, लेकिन 100% it will happen on the other side, 100%, not 99%. And how? Now we're going to take this as a joke, okay? So let's say this is the example I always use, and she's already has a smile on her face. You know, कभी कभार हमारे जमात में लड़कियां वो ऊंचे सैंडल पहन के आती है, लंबे लंबे सैंडल, इतने बड़े बड़े. Is there any special name for that? जो high heels, high heels, right? Let's say क्या एक लड़की आई है high heel पहन के आई है ना, आप देखते हैं या कोई इसकी फ्रेंड देखती है, जो भी देखता है, बोलते हैं बड़ी हाई हील पहन के आई है, गिरे ना तो पता चले, right? Human है ना, हमारा mind, I don't know how our brain is wired, but you know we always think of crazy things, right? Funny comedy, ma, right?
Because I'm choosing shoes to me, I saw.
Right? So of course she doesn't fall down or anything, you know. Sometimes she may, but most times she will not. Nothing will happen to her. वो अपने रास्ते में जाएंगी, and you will not even give a second thought to that. Even though you thought it for a second, but that was it, just a thought, and you forgot. But when you die, that day, that moment will be shown to you like a movie. It will be shown to you like a movie. इसको हम अपनी लैंग्वेज में बोलते हैं तिल तिल ना लेखा लेशे साहिब जी. How he will take that? That's what I'm talking about here. He will give you everything you wish for. Even if you wish that bad, because our soul is one, the person you are wishing for and your own soul is one soul. Remember that. Before you think anything bad about anyone, think of this. Uski soul and your soul is one, same. You all were born with one single soul. So in that movie, you will see what? You will be wearing the high heels and you will see yourself wishing and you will fall down. मैं आपको हर्ट नहीं करेंगे. अभी आपकी रूह है, आपका जिस्म नहीं है. You don't have a body, so you're not going to get hurt or anything. But you will see that wish was granted for you. Because that's what you asked, right? And because she is your soul, you had wished bad on your own soul. And because you wish for them, you were granted. And it will be shown to you. That's how Mullah will take the account of every single wish, a good wish or a bad wish. Rest assured, you will be granted. अच्छा ये है, thank to Mullah Baba, कि वो यहाँ पर वो नहीं करता हमारे साथ, because यहाँ पर we have a body, we may get hurt. In the soul, that punishment of the soul. So how is that punishment of the soul? Soul का क्या punishment हुई? Soul doesn't get hurt like body does. So what was the punishment here? Can anybody think? What was the punishment in this scenario? Pashimani. English में क्या बोलेंगे पश्चिमानी का? Regret. You will regret. Why did I wish that? You will have a regret. The second of regret is your punishment enough. Because रूह के ऊपर जब वो regret आता है ना, वो पश्चिमानी होती है ना उसको, वो एक लम्हा जो है ना, वो बहुत बड़ी punishment होती है उसके लिए, soul के लिए. And और यहाँ पर ये इसका principle है कि regret और the पश्चिमानी वो आपकी सजा है. Is well enough, good enough. वो एक moment of the regret वो आपकी punishment होती है. But if you do that for a lifetime, think about it. If you're doing bad thing for a lifetime, you will regret, again and again and again. But on the other hand, if you have done good deeds, so let's look at the flip side. Look at the flip side. वही लड़की जा रही है हाई हिल पहन के, आप बोलते हैं मोला तो इसका रखवाला ना बेचारी कहीं गिर ना जाए. Just for a second, right? And you're not going to give a second thought. That movie also will be shown to you. The moment will be shown to you when you had well wished on that soul, which was your own soul, right? And that would be the moment of happiness for you. Remember, जब मोला बोलता है कि मैं दिल से का लेखा लूँगा, तो ख्याली क्या he is only going to look at our bad deeds? No, he also going to look at our good deeds. And he will give you that moment of happiness. So I'm going to stop here.
I want to add something.
Yeah, sure.
So coming back to your question, right? That your friend said that why my prayers are not granted. Okay? So listening to him, the question comes to your mind that should we not pray for our world because Mawla doesn't like it? But we live in this world. We want what we want, we need it, right? For example, you being young kids, if you go to school, you want to pass the test. But think of it like this, that you go to school and education because you want to earn a degree so you can make a good living and you can take care of your family. You're focused on the outcome. So you pray to Mola Bapa that Mola, please help me pass this test so I can achieve my outcome, which is to serve your family, to help your family, to get better, right? So it's the outcome which matters. You don't worry about the test, day to day to test, because it's the outcome. If you don't pass today's test, tomorrow you will not get the reward. So when we pray to Mola Bapa, and Mola doesn't like dunya dua, we have understood that. So when we are in dunya and we say Mola Bapa that please help me conquer this emotional battle I have about my school, about my admission, about my family, my job, anything. So I can sit in bandagi and I can pray with concentration. I can say my Isma Azam with concentration. How smart is that? You're asking the worldly thing, but your focus, your outcome is not the world. Your focus is your ibadat. So we live in this worldly life. We need what we need, right? We need to have, food, roof over our heads, whatever we need. So we do pray, but our focus is not that. And then there's another thing. Let's say if you're asking for this test and you want A grade, because whatever reason you want this credit, you want A grade, and you do not get A grade. A person who is knowledgeable will say, I am sure, Mola Bapa, you know that I worked hard. I met all the conditions, but even then I did not get the A grade. I'm sure it's best for me. Because I do not know what is going to happen tomorrow. So whatever you desire, you always desire, but you leave the outcome to Mola Bapa. You say, oh, if it does not happen, you will not complain. Because if you complain, that means you don't have the knowledge. Because you have full faith in Imam and you say, if I did not get this, I am sure, Mola Bapa, you are doing the best for me. So it's with the knowledge that you know that there is no disappointment. For a moment, there is no disappointment. There is no sad day. Whenever we are away from the true knowledge, the life is miserable, unhappy, and full of disappointments. Right? So when you think like that, it is so clear. The life is so easy and so clear. You don't have any struggle as per se.
And to add that, remember, looks like the end goal is to make money. Your end goal should be to be a good human. That should be your end goal, to be a good human. If you are a good human and you have a lot of money, what would you do with that money? If you are a good human. Now come to the other side. You're not a good person and you have a lot of money, what would you do with that money? So that money will become burden to you. But if you are a good person, that money will be your reward, so you may use it in a good way. Because money to hai aapke paas. Money can be a good thing or money could be a bad thing. So if you ask to be a good person, hamari teacher thi, she always say that, and she's a administrator in one of the school in Pakistan. He said, when I go to classroom and when I ask children, chote bachche hote na, what would you like to be? They always say, I want to be engineer, I want to be astronaut, doctor, lawyer, whatever. And she will say, how about we say, I wanted to be a good human. If you're a good human and a doctor, you will do good. Then you're not working for a greed. If you are a bad person and a doctor, you're only working for a greed, for money. You're still a doctor. But your goal is to make as much money as possible. You don't care about human life or human suffering or to help the human or serve the human. You will not care for that. Because your goal was never to serve them. Your goal was what? Make money. Now if you are a good human and if you are a doctor, your view will change. You still be doing everything you're doing, you still be making good money, but the way of thinking, your thought process will completely change. इसलिए सुल्तान बादशाह का ये फरमान बहुत याद आता है कि आप बचपन में, this is one of सुल्तान बादशाह का फरमान, कि give religion books to your children, put the books in their hand, मौलाना से उसके हाथों में दो, when they are little. क्योंकि अगर उसके दिल के अंदर मजहब नहीं होगा ना, they will never be a good human. लेकिन उसके दिल के अंदर मजहब होगा तो he will be God-fearing person, right? He always will think of a good. So हमारा end goal जो है ना वो हमेशा good होना चाहिए. So I want to bring that back to the रूहानियत. What about रूहानियत? अगर हमको रूहानियत मिलती है, is that for us or can we also do good for others? We talked about, okay, we become a doctor and do good for others. What about रूहानियत? Even though it sound like Malapa say when you have रूहानियत, it is yours individually.
Don't talk about it.
Don't talk about it. That is 100% true. It is yours. Doctor degree वो आपकी है ना? You receive that degree. It is yours. But what do you do with that afterward? You use it for the betterment of the human. रूहानियत में भी यही है. And people don't even think about it or don't understand. When you have something in रूहानियत, and I'm going to give you some example to prove my point. When you have something in रूहानियत, and if you are a good person, remember यहाँ पर जो बात है कि you always wanted to do good for others, not for yourself. What would you do? You will always pray for others. Because now you are wali, you are closer to the nur of the Imam. You will do what? You will always pray for others. तो जब हम पाठ के ऊपर दुआ कराने जाते हैं, so that's one of the things that we teach in our younger group. First, we will say, don't even pray for yourself. Don't ask for anything for yourself. So let's take three kind of people, okay? एक आदमी जो दुआ कराने आता है, he will only pray for himself. एक आदमी जो आता है, वो अपने लिए दुआ करता है, दूसरों के लिए भी दुआ करता है. और एक आदमी आता है, वो सिर्फ दूसरों के लिए दुआ करता है, अपने लिए कभी भी दुआ नहीं करता है. And I'm going to give you one of the example of this one, the third one. And I learned this from this old handicapped man. He was not teaching me, and I don't know why. So, sometimes when you're going in the line, and you are right in front of the Mukhi Sahib, and you see somebody curse you, he comes with the crutches. So, मैंने बोला आ जाओ, वो अंदर आ गया. I think there was Mullah's way of teaching me something. So ये बंदा वो अपना crutches लेकर आगे आया, मेरे आगे खड़ा रहा. And because I was not standing back, I was right behind him, I could hear what he was saying. It was amazing. This guy could not even walk. He was in such a bad shape. But when I listened to his dua, he was saying, मुखी साहब को पैसे देता था, बोलता था कि मेरे बच्चों को मौला सुखी रखे, है ना, मेरी बेगम बीमार है, उसको मौला ठीक कर देवे. He was praying for everybody. जमात के लिए दुआ कर रहा था. I never heard him say one single time कि मौला पा मेरे पर भी रहम कर. He didn't. Can you imagine? So when you do something like this, what happens to you? What do you think happened to him? जब हम पूरी जमात के लिए दुआ मांगते हैं, we ask for everybody but ourselves. मौला पा वो सारी दुआ जो है ना, he turns it around for you. He will turn that dua for you, all of them. Because मौला पा see कि this person बिल्कुल selflessly, he doesn't want anything for himself. Because remember that Mullahs know exactly what we want, what is in our heart, what we need, what kind of help we need. As a human, we need a lot of help. He knows that already. And then when you ask or have this kind of act, when you ask for everybody but yourself, Mullah Pak gives all those blessings back to you. Returns all back to you. And I think that is the best way and the right way of going for a dua. Don't ask for anything for yourself. But if you cannot do that, stay in the middle. Don't be the first one. Don't be the first
Does it answer your question? Do you
Yeah,
have
so I think that girl was asking, like, I don't know, like, I feel like it's kind of selfish to just ask for things that you want. So how do you get to the point where you ask, like, you say your dua 3 times a day, do you say do you say your tasbih, or, how do you get to the point where it's okay to ask for the things that you want? Like, I think she was asking, like, I don't know, she was saying, like, how do you pray? Like, you don't just ask for things you want. Like, I don't want to tell her what I do, because
Explain need and want, and that will answer the question.
sometimes people say their dua 3 times a day. They say, salawat like 500 times a day or something like that. So how do you pray? Like, I don't. I feel bad just asking for whatever. You don't just list off like, give me this, give me this.
So I can understand the background of the question. You know why? Because we live in a different religion world, right? It's American society, people are Christian, and they'll say, "Oh, I pray like this or I pray like that." I understand what you're asking now. So the ritual of praying, how do you pray physically? So okay, we attend Jamaat Khana, we do Giryazari Tasbih. When you go to Sajda, in Sajda, you can pray actually and ask whatever you want. That's one way. When you're at home, you can take out Tasbih. Salawat is a beautiful Tasbih, but if you understand the meaning of Salawat, then it makes the difference. Anything you say by your mouth, Yali, 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 but you don't understand who Ali is, what Ali's status is, it's like parrot repeating a word. Then it does not help. So the ritual of prayer means that whatever you say and do, you understand it fully. Even going into sajda has a very higher status in prayers. And if you don't understand the meaning of sajda, it doesn't serve the purpose. So whatever you do, it doesn't. In our religion, it is okay. You can stand up and say tasbih. You can sit down and say tasbih. You can lie down and say tasbih. You can do, tasbih in sajda, whatever way you like. You don't have to be physically restricted in a ritual form. But you need to understand what you are saying and doing. Our religion is esoteric. Everything we say and do, there is a hidden meaning in it. If you don't come to true knowledge classes and understand the hidden meaning of whatever you're doing, you will not get that satisfaction. Or even you will not understand why my prayers are not being answered, because you don't even know how to pray. So there is a ritual of prayer, understanding of prayer, and then what to pray. All are these levels. So because she doesn't know, so she's asking a general question. So there are parts to these questions, right? And then the way he would like us to talk about need and want. In today's world, especially in this society, media has influenced us so much that it's all about want, want, want. If you don't get this, you'll be unhappy. That's how they tell us. If you don't get this T-shirt, you will not survive in your friend circle.
Yeah, I will die if I don't get it.
Yes, it's all about want.
I need it.
They make it need. So from young age, we have to train our children and younger people that you always ask this question: do I need this or do I want this? If you want it, do not go for it. That's one thing. And when you want to practice to become it is important to even kill your needs too, because you want to sacrifice for Mawla. How do you kill this nafs, the ego you want to call it, or lower I? In Ginan it says carnal soul. In Ginan it says man to maha balwant kahiye. Man, your desires, your lower I or carnal soul is like anaconda. You do how huge it is. It is very hard to suppress that, control that. It's that huge being lives in us. You want this, So you have to train yourself. Even if I need this, let me see how long can I stay away from it. And a moment truly puts himself into practice of staying away from the things which he needs. For example, fasting. For example, sacrificing hours your sleep. All these are your need. You need to sleep, right? You need to eat. But you would willingly, happily stay away from things you need so you can prove your love to Mawla. Because these are conditions. Imam doesn't want us. Imam doesn't care if you come to Jamaat Khana or not, if you increase your ranks or not. He prays for us. He does his job. He gives us Isme Azam. He has given us Farman ki Jamaat Khana aana hai. What we need to do. Need to observe the ethics of Islam. But if we don't do that, we are not harming him anyways. We who are one soul have come from him. We need to go back. We came to this world to live this life, live happily, serve others, and go back to him. If we will not fulfill that objective, we will be there with him, but we'll be very far away from him. Because in religion, just like the world, there are stages. A student who works so hard meets the requirement of education, the curriculum objectives, and then extra curriculum. She or he does everything. What happens at the end? He or she becomes valedictorian speaker. She's talking to the dean, she's talking to the director, she's with them. A student is not supposed to be in administrative office, but because she met the requirement, she's at that level meeting with all the higher ups to discuss what she's going to talk about. Similarly, a mommy who meets all the objectives, ones which like you have to, attendance to Jamaat Khana, it's have to. Nobody says you have to say tasbih before you go to bed. But if you do it, what? What does it mean? You're doing extraordinary ibadat. When you do both the things, when you die, what will happen? You'll be close to Mawla, sitting next to him. Okay, Mawla, what do we do now? How happy you would be. Imagine when Mawla comes to Izdar, he's sitting on the chair, and Mukhi Sahib, they are talking to Mawla, and you wish, I wish I was there. Talking to Mawla so near, right? Being with him. We can achieve that. In our spirituality, we can achieve that. Do we want it? If we want it, then there are requirements. Are we making sure that we meet the requirement? So the point of need and want in the world, how do you understand it? And then how do you apply it in spirituality? In the world, everything, literally everything is an example of the spiritual world. Our education system, going to classes, it's an example of how you become a student in Rohaniyat and go through classes. What example you want to take? Travel, for example. Traveling from city or state or country. It's an example of Ruhaniyat because moment who elevates himself or herself, they travel in space and time. So the world is an example of a spirituality. The world is a smaller path or time we need to spend in to understand the spirituality. Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah says a beautiful farman that when you come to the world, you had that consciousness in you that why are you coming to this world? And there's a beautiful story he can tell, how and why did we come to this world? And when we come to this world, what happens? We forget. Our basic flaw is we forget. When we come to this world, what happens? We have toys in front of us, red, blue, and green, and we are playing, and we forget. I need to understand this puzzle. So parents would say, you need to go to the ECDC, and that, and that, and that. You are so much into the worldly achievements and worldly things that you forget that this was not the objective of the coming to this world. It was totally something else. Why? Because from childhood, we were not given the religious books or religious practices which we had to do to understand the main objective. The reason we all are here at this young age, because somewhere somebody in our family taught us that you need to do more. This is not it. There's something behind it. And what we are doing here today, we are trying to find what is behind it. The esoteric part of our religion, the esoteric part of our body. This is what I see. I'm wearing this clothes, I'm this, I'm speaking. But this is not me. The me I don't even see now. That's the soul. Right?
I wanted to give one more example of want and need. And this is from a live example I'm giving. So when we went for a Diamond Jubilee, and I was really surprised to actually hear that. So my daughter and some of their friends were talking, and I just overheard them saying, did you see Molapa and all those children? They were wearing same clothes as 10 years ago in Golden Jubilee. 10 years ago in Golden Jubilee, they were wearing same clothes. Now come to us. If I wear this, dress or suit or whatever, I cannot wear that tomorrow again, or the next Chandra, or next Juma, or next Madlas. I have to. I want a new dress. That's a want. I want a new dress. Not only a new dress, then, of course, I was with my daughter all the time, so I learned so much from her in this aspect. Yeah. So one of the girls comes and they were having a competition, whatever the competition is. She is wearing $3,000 dress for Dandiya. $3,000 dress. And I'm thinking, oh my God. If I calculate all the suits and all my daughter's suits that we bought in last 10 years, it will not be $3,000. It will not be. So do you see the difference between need and want? So every time we pick up something, we should ask ourselves, if this is my want or this is my need. If that's not your need, you should not be buying it. You should not buy it. Because that is exactly what is encouraging your carnal soul, your nerves. So there are two ways, and I'm going to use the Urdu or Gujarati terms, and she can explain that in English. कि आपकी नफ्स जो है ना, वो आपके ऊपर, आपको घोड़ा बनाकर आपके ऊपर सवारी करती है. It should be the other way around. कि आपको अपनी नफ्स के ऊपर सवारी करनी है.
It's Imam's Farman, right?
Yeah,
Imagine if we were to close our eyes, and this is from Farman, think of a horse cart, and like you have this rope and you're holding this horse and you're sitting in the cart. Think of it that you are at the place of horse and horse is riding you. How crazy that would look. It doesn't even make sense. Intellectually we would say it's stupid to even think or imagine things like that. That's exactly we do in our lives. When we don't have true knowledge, when we don't follow the we need to follow, we are living literally our lives as if horse, the nafs, the carnal soul is riding us and making us do whatever it wanted. It's not we wanted.
Yeah, she is riding you instead of you riding her.
Shikha